Joined by the man himself, Jordy Culotta. Of course, you know him of the Jordy Culotta Show. You can follow him at Jordy Culotta. And don't forget to follow the show as well at Culotta Show, the most outstanding LSU show out there. I watch it every day on YouTube. Jordy, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate you.
Mike, thanks for having me back, man. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, you're one of the best, so I had to get you on now that LSU driver's seat in the SEC West. But before we get to that, Jordy, I just want to ask you, how thankful are you that LSU didn't hire Jimbo Fisher?
Oh man, look, it very. If you're watching that offense play, that's very reminiscent of Les Miles, and I don't think Tiger fans could have withstood another run like they saw with Miles and what the offense looks like now for Jimbo Fisher. You know what I mean? Look, the most concerning part about Fisher is that he for a while there had a reputation of a quarterback whisperer, and to see the lack of development and the inability to evaluate and see who the best player is and play that guy, I think that there is a lot of red flags when you look at what's going on in College Station.
Yeah, no doubt. Let's transition to the game on Saturday night. Death Valley, the scene looked incredible. When is the last time that you can recall Death Valley was to the level that it was Saturday, beating Nick Saban's Alabama program?
Well, it was a high point for the program. From Nick for Brian Kelly's standpoint, it was something that you can really hang your hat on. It's something that you can point at in recruiting. Coming up, letting people know that they're trending in the right direction, and that that there is positive thoughts around the program, and things are going well. I mean, it was as good of a win in a first year that a coach has had around here in a long time, and Kelly is only growing from this. I anticipate that they close the year strong. I think they have a great opportunity to go to Atlanta, which is really crazy to say out loud, and it's been an unbelievable run up to this point.
Any surprise that Brian Kelly went for two and went for the win there?
In the moment, I can't say that there was, but looking back on it and kind of having a chance to kind of digest it, think about it, it does make sense. Having and hearing Kelly say that if you would have given him one chance to win the game in one play, that he'd have taken it, and that's what he did. I mean, it's. The officiating would start to trend in the wrong direction. They weren't, trying to. They weren't looking like that they were going to get, a fair shake there after the tip ball and in overtime that was allowed to reset Alabama. But I think that moment will live on forever for Kelly at LSU. I mean, that'll kind of be the moment that it all kind of. The momentum of the public, the entire fan base got behind him and said, "Look, man, you're our guy." So it's been a heck of a week in turnaround. But now here they are, kind of Wednesday of game week, and a lot of people are still talking about Alabama. They have to shift their focus to Arkansas coming up this weekend, because if they were able, to go up there and take care of business, they really have locked themselves into an SEC Western Division crown.
And how wild is that to even consider, Jordy, given the fact that, week one was an ugly showing, but even fast forward a month, getting defeated soundly at home to Tennessee. Could you ever have imagined that you'd be sitting here a week into November with the LSU Tigers #1 in the West?
Really is a crazy story, Mike, to think about, and think about where they've come from. I mean, when they were pulling out of Houston in January, they had 38 scholarship players. They had wide receivers playing quarterback. They were just a mismatch of a team, and with little direction, and curious about what the next couple of years were going to look like. And Brian Kelly came in with his staff and was able to raid the transfer portal and get some guys in recruiting, and you really start to see that stuff pay off. That was Mason Taylor, the true freshman that caught that touchdown pass. Harold Perkins, the true freshman, was the SEC Defensive Player of the Week. And Emory Jones and Will Campbell are both true freshmen that are starting on the offensive line and held their own against NFL competition on Saturday. So Just a lot of bright spots, a lot of things that have taken shape here very early, maybe earlier, a lot earlier than people anticipated for LSU as they, come down the stretch here with a real opportunity to go to Atlanta.
Now, certainly Brian Kelly, he's going to be up for SEC Coach of the Year. Hell, I would probably even put him up for National Coach of the Year. But looking at his assistants, Jordy, Brad Davis, offensive line coach, you mentioned it, playing with freshmen, offensive tackles, that multiple freshman offensive tackles. That's unheard of in the SEC. The lineup, they've had to have guys in and out all season long due to injuries and things of that nature. You also got Matt House, who's I think he's killing it as a defensive coordinator. He's brought back the defense as a strength of that program. If you had to pick one, Brad Davis, Matt House, who do you think's done a better job this year?
Oh man, I think it's unfair to label them better because both of them have done an outstanding job. I would even throw Jamar Kane in there. The defensive line coach. He lost one of his best player,
Yeah.
maybe one of the best players in the league on the second drive of the season, and has really not missed a beat. Their staff is very talented and puts in a lot of hard work. You can tell their preparation. You can tell the attention to detail. And look, LSU is got a really good staff getting them prepared. And I think it made Matt House to see what he's done. I mean, all of the tests that he's gone up against, whether it's the air raid and Mike Leach or Hendon Hooker in Tennessee, Mississippi, Auburn, and a true freshman quarterback, Anthony Richardson in Florida. I mean, it's been somebody different. Bryce Young, the Heisman Trophy winner. I mean, they've just had a plan and they've executed and they've done a really good job of preparing each week for a different opponent and, coming out with stuff that looks very effective.
Now, do you think it's time to put Jaden Daniels in the Heisman Trophy consideration, or does he have to finish the season strong to possibly get to New York?
No, I think he's a dark horse. I think he's a guy that, could continue to play at this level and get some attention. I think, there's some guys that are ahead of him in the race that are probably a little bit louder and making a name. But, I think you have to look at what he's done, especially over the last month and how LSU has performed and what the impact that he's had in that. And it's been enormous. So, I wouldn't be surprised if he kind of backdoors in for an invitation.
Now, can he even come back next season? I was unclear on that. I thought I had heard him previously say he'll be back for another year. Has he officially declared anything?
He's not declared anything. He does have the opportunity to come back. They still have 3 weeks left in the regular season, so I think there's still time to make that decision. But I think he's playing himself into a spot where he'll have to make a choice, which – I think, a month ago, 3 months ago, 6 months ago was crazy even to say out loud.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned Harold Perkins. He's the next in a long line of LSU Tigers that have been just outstanding as true freshmen. I think of Derek Stingley, maybe the best freshman we've ever seen as a corner, Leonard Fournette. Do you put Perkins in that conversation as in their class of just, my God, Jordy, he may be one of the best linebackers in the country.
Well, I think he is. I don't think you can argue that at this point. The impact he has on the game is you really can't even calculate it. I mean, the numbers are there, and you can see the stats, but what you can't account for is just how smart he is, how athletic he is, and the mind games he plays with the quarterbacks. He was in Bryce Young's head early on. He had him rattled and. You could see that he was finding where 40 is, and yeah, I agree. He's in that class of Tyrann Mathieu and Fournette and Derek Stingley, of guys that have come in here and made instant impacts as freshmen and really kind of gone down in the lore of LSU football history of somebody that just is impact guys that can play at such a high level.
Now, we can't overlook a game this weekend on the road, early game. Arkansas is a dangerous team, even though they're a little banged up, coming off an embarrassing loss. LSU should win this game, but do you have any level of concern that this is a big trap game coming off an emotional win at home against Alabama? Any concern that, the odds makers think this will be a tight one? How about you?
Look, I think that by every sense of the definition, it is a trap game. But I really, like I said this morning on the show, I think Brian Kelly will prove his value this Saturday much more than he did last Saturday. And he was enormous versus Alabama. But these are the games where he'll show his brilliance, where this is a classic letdown, classic trap game. But I think he'll have the team prepared to play. I think they'll have a good plan. I don't think that they'll let the elements like the cold and, the 11 a.m. start get to them. And, they are the better team. And I think that they will play like the better team. And I think that they will, represent themselves like they are the better team. And that's, that's what Brian Kelly was brought here to do, to change the culture and turn LSU into a consistent winner. And I think these are the days where you're seeing that take shape.
Now, final thing for you, Jordy, as LSU continues to get better week in, week out, who knows how good they'll be in 3 weeks, a month from now. If they finish the deal, they're headed to Atlanta. Do you give them a shot to pull the upset? Because everybody's going to be picking Georgia, and Georgia will be a favorite, probably a 10-point favorite, maybe even a little bit more. Do you give, if LSU continues to improve, could you see it to where they win in Atlanta over the Georgia Bulldogs?
Look, it'll be a tough task. Georgia is they're a monster right now. They're a machine, and they're deep. They're talented. That's a quasi home game for them in the Georgia Dome. So that will be a tough hill to climb if that's the draw, which it looks like it will be. But look, LSU is a dangerous team right now because they believe. They are bought in. They think that they are one of the best teams in the country. They're playing like one of the best teams in the country. And, look, when you got that, it doesn't really matter what you're taking on or what the outside thinks because, that's a dangerous weapon. And LSU right now is playing like a very dangerous weapon because they believe the coach has got a lot of trust in them. They have a lot of trust in the coach. So I really do believe that this is kind of where LSU is in its growth pattern of building a consistent winner, which is, like we said, Brian Kelly was brought in here to do.
Now, Jordy, before you go, can you tell my audience where to find your work? And it really is. It's the best LSU content you're going to find. Jordy's Rolodex, I mean, my God, he'll be sitting there on the show. He'll get a head coach on the line. He'll get a new commit on the line. He knows everybody down there. Tell the audience where they can consume your content.
Appreciate that, Mike. Easiest way to do it is at Culotta Show on any social media platform. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, wherever you're looking for us, you can hit us at Culotta Show, and on YouTube, we're there 7 to 9 a.m. each day.
Absolutely, and we'll put that in the show notes for the audience to find. Thank you again, Jordy. I really, really appreciate you. Anytime you need me, man, reach out. I'm happy to join your show again.
Thank you, Mike.
Take care.